Hi friends, now I'm going to explain about the definition of sensor. A device that converts an energy from one form to another known as transducer. The input energy may be electrical, mechanical, chemical, thermal or optical. Devices which perform an input function are commonly called sensors because they sense a physical change in some characteristic that change in response to some excitation. For example, heat or force. It's convert that into an electrical signal. Devices which perform an output function are generally called actuators and it's used to control some external device, for example, movement. Friends, let us identify the types of sensor. First, chemical field effector transistor. Second, chemiresistor. Third, electrochemical gas sensor. Fourth, hydrogen sulfide sensor. Fifth, non-dispersive infrared sensor. Sixth, pH glass electrode. Seventh, potentiometric sensor. Eighth, temperature sensor. Ninth, proximity sensor. Lastly, accelerometer. Dear friends, do you know the function of sensor that I mentioned earlier? Let me explain. First, chemical field effect transistor. A chemical field effect transistor is a chemically sensitive field effect transistor. That is a field effect transistor used as a sensor for measuring chemical concentration in solution. When the target analyte concentration changes, the current through the transistor will change accordingly. Second, chemiresistor. A chemiresistor is a material that changes its electrical resistance in response to change in the nearby chemical environment. Chemiresistors are a class of chemical sensors that rely on the direct chemical interaction between the sensing material and the analyte. The electrochemical gas sensors are gas detectors that measure the concentration of a target gas by oxidizing or reducing the target gas at an electrode and measuring the resulting current. Number 4 is a hydrogen sulfide sensor or H2S sensor is a gas sensor for the measurement of hydrogen sulfide. In a laboratory, hydrogen sulfide is prepared by the action of dilute sulfuric acid on iron sulfide. Sulfuric acid and nitric acid cannot be used for this process as they oxidize hydrogen sulfide to sulfur. Number 5 is a non-dispersive infrared sensor or NDIS sensor. Is a simple spectroscopic sensor often used as a gas detector. The majority of ND sensors use a broadband lamp source and an optical filter to select a narrow band spectral region that overlaps with the absorption region of the gas of interest. pH glass electrode is a type of ion selective electrode made of a doped glass membrane that is sensitive to a specific ion. The most common application of ion selective glass electrode is for the measurement of pH. The pH electrode is an example of a glass electrode that is sensitive to hydrogen ion. Number 7 is a potentiometric sensor. Is a type of chemical sensor that may be used to determine the analytical concentration of some components of the analyte gas or solution. These sensors measure the electrical potential of an electrode when no current is present. Number 8 is temperature sensors. Measure the amount of heat energy or even coldness that is generated by an object or system, allowing us to sense or detect any physical change to that temperature producing either an analog or digital output. Moreover, a proximity sensor is a non-contact sensor that detects the presence of an object, often referred to as the target. When the target enters the sensor's field, Depending on the type of proximity sensor, sound, light, infrared radiation, or electromagnetic fields may be utilized by the sensor to detect a target. Last but not least, an accelerometer is an electronic sensor that measures the acceleration forces acting on an object in order to determine the object's position in space and monitoring the object's movement. In a while, you're gonna study about the advantages and disadvantages of sensor. First is chemical field effector transistor. The FET generates lower noise and more temperature stable. It also can dissipate high power and can switch large currents. The disadvantages are the amplifiers usually exhibit poor frequency response because of high input capacitance. Some types can exhibit poor linearly. It can be damaged in handling due to static electricity. Second is chemiresistor. The chemiresistor offers the advantage of a simple device architecture and easy signal processing compared to gas-sensitive capacitor and transistor. The disadvantages are short or limited shelf life and cross-sensitivity of other gas. An electrochemical sensor's advantage are usually has a shelf life of 6 months to 1 year, depending on the gas to be detected and the environment in which is used. And then cross-sensitivity of other gases. The disadvantage is some sensors are subject to interfere from other gases. Hydrogen sulfide sensors' advantages are their accuracy, low cost and high performance. And the disadvantages are that they can be affected by environmental changes and contamination. For example, a gas that they are measuring can affect the performance of the sensor. Number 5 is advantages of non-dispersive infrared sensor. Gases can be easily detected in anaerobic condition. CO2 is detected sense infrared from other gases. The disadvantages are of the non-dispersive infrared gas sensors include spectral infrared and caused by water vapor and gas matrix has been partially solved using optical filters and interferer. Number 6 is pH glass electrode. The advantages are the glass electrode is very sensitive. It is used for several kinds of applications. It covers an acidic range and alkaline range of pH. The disadvantages are it is tedious to accurately determine its single electrode capacity because it depends on many factors. Deposits on the membrane of the electrode can disturb the pH measurement. The probability of fragile glass breakdown. The advantages of potentiometric sensor is low cost, low tech, and easy to use. The disadvantages are low accuracy, low reliability, and limited frequency response. The advantages of temperature sensor is no external power required, support for wider temperature range. IC sensors are most linear than all types. The disadvantages are limited support for the temperature range, limited configuration, and lower absolute resistance. Proximity sensors' advantages are they are very accurate compared to other technologies. They have high switching rate. They can work in harsh environmental conditions. The disadvantages are it can detect only metallic target. Its operating range may be limited. The last is accelerometer. The advantages are it has high impedance, it offers higher sensitivity, it has high frequency response. The disadvantages are it is sensitive to temperature and operates over limited temperature range. It efficient degrades over time. It requires external power for its operation. Applications of sensor. First, chemical field effect transistor can be utilized in either liquid or gas phase to detect target and light, requiring reversible binding of analyte with a receptor located in the gate electrode membrane. There is a wide range of applications of chemical field effect transistor, including most notably anion or cation selective sensing. The chemiresistor conductive polymer sensors for second-hand smoke, carbon nanotube sensors for gaseous ammonia, and metal oxide sensors for hydrogen gas. The electrochemical sensors make use of minimal power for their operation. The power consumption of this sensor is the lowest of all gas monitoring sensors. Monitoring indoor air quality and gas leaks with portable instruments consisting of multiple sensors. A H2S sensor is used to detect hydrogen sulfide in the hydrogen feed stream of fuel cells to prevent catalyst poisoning and to measure the quality of gut beds used to remove sulfur from hydrocarbon fuels. The non-dispersive infrared is often used to detect gas and measure the concentration of carbon oxides. An infrared beam passes through the sampling chamber. The pH glass electrode are commonly used for pH measurements. There are also specialized ion-sensitive glass electrodes used for determination of the concentration of ions. Glass electrodes have been controlled industrial process. A potentiometer is essentially used for measuring electric potential. Potentiometers are commonly used to control electrical devices such as volume controls on audio equipment. Dishwashers and coffee machines all contain temperature sensors. Within computers, there are temperature sensors to ensure the system does not overheat. Thermistors are used to control the heat on electric radiators. The common applications of proximity sensors include metal detectors, car washes, and a host of automated industrial processes. The accelerometer are used to detect and monitor vibration in rotating machinery. Accelerometers are used in tablet computers and digital cameras so that images on screen are always displayed upright. It also used in drones for flight stabilization.